We're going live.
Going live.
We're now live.
Thank you. Welcome to the meeting for June. Town Council Planning Committee. Welcome councillors and guests and representatives of the Minister Marshes. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Item 1, apologies received. Okay. Item 2, declarations of interest. To receive any declaration of disclosure pecuniary interest from members in respect of business to be transacted on this agenda. Item 3, minutes of the Planning Committee. To approve the minutes of the Planning Committee held on Monday the 19th of May 2025 and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere in this agenda.
Just to let you know, I received, one amendment that I had accidentally marked Mr. Anarose here when he was not. And apologies for us.
Okay.
Yeah, just to point out, it says for item 1 is moved by Councillor Marie and seconded by Councillor Wiles. Councillor Franklin to be elected chair of the planning. I wasn't here. And on item 2 it says I was on a work commitment, so apologies.
So that's fine.
So I don't know who it was that done that, but it wasn't me.
Yeah, sorry, just a question. Is the video, is it streaming?
It says so, yes.
Good.
Okay. So just that one amendment. We're all happy with that one amendment?
Yeah.
Item 4.
We need to vote.
Proposing
We need to vote.
Yeah, I'll propose it.
Okay, I'm happy to second.
Do you have a vote?
Yeah.
No cards.
I'll abstain, I wasn't here.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Item 4, public participation. A 20-minute session is set aside. Got two of them. A 20-minute session is set aside for members of the public to make representations at the meeting in respect of the business on the agenda. Individual representation should not exceed 5 minutes. Written notice of the desire to exercise the right to speak, together with the topic to be addressed, must be given to the town clerk at least 4 hours in advance of the meeting.
None received.
Thank you. Item 5, National Grid ceiling proposal. The committee to hear from the Save the Mr. Marshall campaign group to provide an update on the National Grid's plan to build an electrical converter station on Mr. Marston coming through Pebble Bay. The information shared will include how registration as an interested party on the government website can be undertaken before the deadline of 23rd June 2025.
I don't know where's best to stand to talk to you, but I'm hoping that everybody already knows about what the proposal is. Is there anybody who doesn't know what the proposal is for National Grid to build on Mr. Marshes? Brilliant. So I've also got Nina here, who is Kent Wildlife Trust and Warden for Pegwell Bay. So we are working together. The Save Mr. Marshes campaign is working alongside with Kent Wildlife Trust for the Rethink Ceiling. So I don't know, Nina, if you wanted to say anything particular.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great start actually. You all know, what it's about. Has anyone not yet registered as an interested party to make sure that their voice is heard as part of the examination process? Because there's quite a lot of information online to how you can do that. So I'm going to leave these with you. I don't know if you like the QR code or not, but there's a QR code that you can scan there. It will take you to our Rethink Ceiling webpage, which we think is pretty memorable anyway, so you can just type that into Google. And it comes up with a page of information about, including the deadline, which is 2 weeks today, just to do that first stage, which is registering as an interested party so that you can have your voice heard at the examination stage. So we've got 2 more weeks to do that. You don't have to submit a full report and essays of work now. You can bullet point, your opinion, whether you're for or against, and then in just over in about 6 weeks' time, we'll get to the stage where it'll be the examination stage, and the Inspectorate Authority will then be in contact so that people can add more information. The Inspectorate wants to be able to, the evidence, and that process there takes 6 months. So we're really asking for as many people as possible individually to put forward their opinion as well. You know, even if that means that we extend that process, National Grid, to us, that's useful. Yeah.
And can you register as a council?
Absolutely.
That's
Yes.
fine.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
what we're hoping that you will do following this today. Obviously, Sandwich, it's going to be the main impact for you is going to be the additional pressure of flooding. There will also be some of the pressure from the traffic, because we're talking about 36,000 very large lorries coming through, and they are going to be blocking up the roads in that direction. So I think it is going to be pressure of traffic, but you know, if you think about the size of this project and the amount of hard standing that's then going to be put onto a marshland building, then because they didn't realise it was actually marshland properly, they're now having to alter their proposal to put a 2 metre deep platform of hardcore underneath, so to raise their building up higher, and that's all got to be shipped in from somewhere, and it's going to be cost. And it's also, of course, when all that runoff comes through that hardcore, not only is it additional water pressures, but it's going to be bringing all the pollution from that hardcore that's been put on there into the Stour and polluting all of the rivers and the wildlife. So I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add on to that, Anna?
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine you guys kind of can, you know, are aware of some of the impacts that are going to be included. You know, obviously from Kent Wildlife's position, we sort of focus on the impacts on the protected areas. You know, Pegwell and Sandwich Bay have an incredible number of protected statuses, and where usually NSIPs do get approved, which this is one of those cases. It gets approved by Secretary of State to go ahead to kind of planning stage, and examination stage. But actually, the example here has the most reasons our planning team has ever seen to have not got to the stage, actually, unfortunately, that we're at now. So, you know, that's just considering wildlife without all the other things like you've been mentioning, you know, like the traffic, for example. If you do want to know more information about specific impacts, please do get in contact with Kent Wildlife Trust or Save Minster Marshes. Obviously, you know, the land at Minster Marshes is going to be incredibly severely impacted, 13.16 hectares of land. And although it's not protected by you know, any legislation in the way Pegwell and Sandwich is, there are so many species there that are, you know, specific features of different protective area statuses on Sandwich and Pegwell, and they move between that land. So we call it functionally linked land. It's going to impact the species at Pegwell and possibly its protective status in the future as well. So, you know, the long-term impacts on wildlife are going to be quite
I would say about a year ago we did, I think we also had a presentation then as well, and we did put in a very strong objection. So we're not passive, we have objected.
Excellent,
But that
yeah.
doesn't mean
So unfortunately they keep on moving the goalposts, and we
Yeah.
just have to keep on. So I speak to so many people and they say, oh yes, I registered. And what, on the government inspectorate side, no, I registered with National Grid. Yes, but now you've got to do it again.
Yeah.
Now there's another stage.
Yeah.
So they keep on moving that over. And of course we had thousands on our petition, we've had thousands of people object to National Grid, but all of that they don't include. It's just now down to this one, so which is why we're putting asking everybody to put as many registrations as possible. I've also got, and I will pass around for you, this is a cumulative impact map. So of course you're probably aware of the solar panels that are going to be put in that area, and we've already got the battery storage down in that area. So it's just, you know, when they're talking about, oh well, we can mitigate, and in fact their proposed mitigation was one tiny little plot of land that was not in any way going to compensate for this massive structure on the marshland, which as we were driving in we said actually Discovery Park is probably about the height of the building that they're talking about putting out there, but it's going to be 22 football pitches in size. And this is a home to 32 red listed endangered species. We've got the International Union for the Conservation of Nature doing a report for us at the moment. They are registering their objection. So this is, you know, it's of massive significance for wildlife, but for you guys, obviously, you know, the big impact will be the excess water.
Can I just ask what role the Environment Agency is playing in this? Because I can't imagine they'd be able to have
Well,
They're fairly silent on this,
yes,
actually. Fairly silent.
unfortunately, yes.
Your
experience
experience
is coming. Yeah, I think it doesn't help that you're kind of down to skeletal staff, aren't you? Like
Yeah.
some other place, many other conservation bodies as well. You are stakeholders that will have been approached for opinion, but there are so many different stakeholders that take key roles in this, including Natural England, of course. But I mean, in one way, that's the benefit of having a complex site with multiple landowners. It does make it kind of hard in a way to collaborate, but actually there's so many people that are objecting to this. It's really worth noting as well that when the NSIP for the Vattenfall extension for the wind farm off of Ramsgate got to this stage, it got disproved, for the same reasons as this case. So why this has got to this far, it's real disappointment.
And the thing to remember is that although we are pro green energy and we all want to see an increase in that green energy rather than fossil fuels, this is not green energy when you are wiping out an enormous area for nature and actually having a much bigger carbon impact by this structure than you are possibly going to be able to save by this sort of green energy. And there are alternatives. So Roger Gale was at our meeting in Sandwich just last week, and he spoke very clearly that there are alternatives and they are more expensive for National Grid, but National Grid is a private company that made 4.6 billion in profit last year. So, they're saying, well, we have to look after our stakeholders, we have to look after our customers, but I'm sorry, but
Thank you for that, very good stuff. I'm actually against wind turbines on land because the concrete, about 100 tonne of concrete in the ground, don't they? And these wind turbines only last about 25 years and the concrete's there 100 odd years. I don't mind going out to sea.
No.
I'm totally against land wind turbines. Anyway, thank you for that. So,
I just wanted to add that actually you did resolve as a committee at the last meeting to register as a committee.
Excellent.
And to do that, when I tried to do that process, you do have to submit your comments or thoughts as to whether you're for and against, which I wanted as a committee, if you're able to just give me a short statement that I can include with it.
I think I'm a bit against it really, aren't I? But,
I can try,
Unless you want
because
to
I did the
do it.
submission for us.
Yeah.
I'm probably still have got all the comments we made because it's broader than just the environmental
It is,
impacts.
yeah.
It's also rich for thought as well, proximity
Yeah,
of that.
absolutely, historical
Mhm.
impact, yeah.
Are you happy to forward that?
If
so
I
then
can find
complete
them,
the application?
So if I could point out maybe a good idea for the mayor, the chair of the chair of the committee, and also the DVC councillors to get their heads together and do something as a collective for the council, if that's a
It won't be difficult. It won't be difficult.
There's
lots of material out there.
complicated process, you just have to submit it with a comment, you can't just say we want to be registered interest. And I'm happy, I've also personally registered and it comes an email from yourselves, which I'm happy to forward to everyone so they can individually register. It's an easy process.
okay, thank you.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Can I leave this with you? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
useful?
fine. You may leave now if you want to.
Excellent, thank
We're
you.
going.
Thank you.
What about us?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Item 6, planning applications. Application plans and favours can be viewed by the Dover District Council website. A. Planning application reference 25/00507. Proposal. Certificate of lawfulness proposed works for a listed building for reduced height of passenger help point on platform 1. Location Sandwich Railway Station, Dellside, Sound CT13 9JR.
I'd like to propose we accept this. I mean, this is, I can't believe it has to go through an
No.
application, but it does. So,
I'd like to second that. This is a disability aspect. I also just wanted to point out to you, Mr. Chairman, that this isn't from the company that I work
No,
for.
I realise that.
So if anybody thought I was hiding any
Different company.
decorations, it's nothing to do.
We're only moving it down a little bit really, I just put a wheelchair behind it. It's hard for 4 people.
So I've got
All in favour of this application? Lovely, thank you. Item B, planning application reference 25/00489 proposal, structural roof repairs, location 72 New Street, Sandwich, CT 13 9BD.
We did last month.
We did this last time.
I think we did a lot of it, yeah. I don't know if this is like conservation, I'm not quite sure, but I think it's,
Our comments on the portal.
Yes.
that's right, yeah.
We've done this one.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Okay.
Don't worry. That's fine.
Okay. Item C, planning application reference 25/00595, proposal route pruning to allow for the installation of a root barrier at One Beach located at 2 Foster's Court, the subject of tree preservation of number 8 of 2009. Digging the trench is likely to severe roots of T2 beech and other small trees as noted in the tree report. The reason for the work is due to subsidence of the property. Location 20 Hedgewood Meadow, Sandwich, CT 30 0AB.
Oh yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I think this is quite important that this work goes ahead.
Yeah.
When I went round to look at the tree the other evening, last Friday or something like that, the owner of the house came out and he explained about how they'd only bought the house a few years ago and that there is some major subsidence issues. So in order to protect the house, also it's a terrace of 3 houses. So what happens to his house could have an effect on 2 other houses as well.
Yeah.
So I'm quite happy to propose that the tree works actually go ahead.
What a mature tree, they put the houses a bit too close, didn't they? So, I'll second that. Does anyone else want to say anything? Okay. All in favour of this one down here? Thank you. D, planning application reference 25/00604, proposal removal of existing paint and repainting of the front elevation, location 70 and 72 New Street, Sandwich, CT 39BD. This is the old pub in the Belfry Cult, so that's a lot of work, so I'll propose.
Happy to second that. Some of this work is structural,
Yeah.
so it's essential. The property I think was built in something like
Very old,
1472.
isn't it? Very old.
So it's very old. We should be protecting it,
Yeah.
and it's been quoted in Boy's book.
Yeah.
So it's essential that the works go
It's in the
ahead.
Sandwich book as well, into the blue. Councillor?
Yeah, the only question I had was the applications against 70 New Street, 72, but 70 wants to be included, so I'm not sure exactly whether we're approving both or just, because the application should only be for 72, that's what's been submitted.
It says both of them. It says location 70 and 72.
Is that what it, well, now I went on to the actual portal, I think it might have said something else. It's the next door neighbour said they would like to be included. I think the actual application was against 72.
Yeah, they haven't commented, have they?
Of course, can't get me into
I mean, it looks like a single property, doesn't it?
It does,
It's got
it
this
does.
strange double
Yeah, it
line.
does.
Yeah, saloon, public bar and a saloon bar and everything as a pub. All in
I'm
favour?
happy to support it, but
All in favour of this? Yeah, thank you. Item E, plan application reference 25/00603. Proposal conversion to residential to include replacement of existing dormer, insertion of roof light to rear replacement of door with glaze screen, widening of existing opening and insertion of a sliding glazed door to rear, removal internal partition, insertion of new staircase, erection of partition to first floor to form ensuite. Location 1 the chain Sandwich, CT 13 9BJ. I remember this was still I think it was a stable, but I remember it being a garage and on the front you actually had a petrol pump set in the wall. Yeah, my dad talked about it, but no, I do remember it. And it had a big taxi firm on as well. Yeah, okay, so, Councillor Warren?
Yeah, I don't recall when this was last retailed. It says conversion to residential. It's outside the primary shopping area, so I have no concerns about that conversion. The works themselves look of good quality and standard, so I'd like to propose we accept it.
I'm happy to second.
Okay.
Yeah, need to.
Any other comments? No? We should vote on it, I think we're all in favour of that. Right.
yes, sorry, can I go back to the previous one? I've now looked on the portal, so it is a confusing application because actually it's against 72.
Yeah.
Then later on in brackets it says 1772. And then in the detail, it talks about 72. So I think if we're supporting the works for both properties, albeit they are joined together, we may need to make that explicit. We're supporting the application of 70 and 72.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I'll get you in favour of that one. Okay. Item 7, withdrawn planning applications. To receive and note withdrawal of planning application, please note and to consider at the time of issuing this agenda. Item 8, planning decision. To receive and note latest decisions taken by Dover District Council on new planning applications. Sorry, was there any comment on the plan? Okay. Item 9, street furniture applications. To receive and consider any application made to DDC in relation to a street furniture consent application under Local Government Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1982, Local Government Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1982, street furniture consent. Please note and consider at the time of issuing this agenda. Item 11, enforcement. To consider any enforcement notices and issues received from Dover District Council. Please note.
Licensing.
Licensing.
Oh, sorry. Item 10, licenses. To consider and note any licensing notices for sandwich. Please note none to consider at the time of issuing this agenda. Okay. Item 11, enforcement. To consider any enforcement notices and issues received from Dover District Council. Please note none to consider at the time of issuing this agenda. Item 12, to receive and consider correspondence related to planning matters, including notification of appeals against refusal of planning application. Letter received from Worth Parish Council related to Windfall Development, Local Plan, SP4 and Settlement confines in DDC planning application 25/00025.
That should have been the attachment to the minutes.
Any comments?
Yeah, I was just going to, I'll second that.
I think
No,
I can understand the concern here, because what you could end up with is a site within a village boundary that's not developed within the local plan, and then because of this argument, a site outside the village boundary might be developed, leaving a hole, if you like, in the middle. So on balance, I think I'm very supportive of this concern from Worth Parish Council.
We should support Worth Parish Council.
Well, if other committee members support it.
Yeah, unfortunately Dover District Council said they were supporting it as well, so they said that approval would go ahead.
What, supporting the development?
The development, yeah.
Right.
That's a surprise.
What's Worth doing? They're not very happy with it, are they?
There was only 2 objections on things, so it can't be that big an issue, but as was put forward, I'm prepared to second noting it.
Yeah.
I don't think we should interfere any further. It's
So,
WPC's matter.
no, to receive.
Just to read, yeah. Item 13, verbal update from Dover District Council on matters related to planning.
No specific planning applications, but can we revisit 57 New Street? Because Claire Dethier offered to meet with councillors back in March, and we haven't taken up that opportunity. And I know the the Labour group rejected the proposal for some enforcement, although I think the proposal was fundamentally forward in specifically mentioned the CPO. But enforcement is needed, and I think this council now, fresh mayoral year, good opportunity to take it up again.
So what I would ask from a mayoral perspective, I will be meeting with the leader of DDC. Surely, if you want to drop me communication with us, I'm more than happy to raise this again.
Yeah.
I have a vision of the future where 10 years from now, the same
Conversation.
topics will be discussed.
20 years ago today, Colin. Yeah. Or more, Paul.
Thank you, Councillor. Okay. Item 14, dating a planning committee meeting, 14th of July 2025. Thank you.
Told you he's good, didn't I?